Hey guys, so in today's video, I'm going to be talking about all of my high school tips. I know a lot of you guys are younger and maybe you're starting high school in the fall, and of course that idea is very scary. And seeing as I just graduated high school, I thought it might be helpful for me to share my tips on high school, how to survive it, what to expect, all that kind of stuff. So I hope you guys enjoy this video, and without further ado, let's get started. Tip number 1, don't go into high school expecting to just breeze by like you might have done in middle school. You're going to have an increased workload, and with that comes a lot more studying, a lot more effort going into school, and this is really the time where you're going to need to figure out what studying methods work for you and just how you learn, really. If you want to do well, you can't be afraid to ask for help, whether that be through a teacher, with a friend, or even just going online and looking up a lesson. Websites like Mathway and Khan Academy are really helpful for learning new topics and understanding them more. And as for studying, if you're a flashcard person, Quizlet is great. It's just really convenient and easy to work. But like I said, this is the time to figure out what works best for you. So maybe Quizlet and flashcards aren't really your thing and you'd rather rewrite all your notes or something, watch a bunch of lessons on the topic. Whatever works for you, try them all out, figure out what you like. And trust me, once you find that study method that really just clicks for you, it'll just be so much easier to get through all the extra coursework. That being said, high school is really going to be as easy or hard as you make it. So of course you're going to get a lot of work anyway, but how much effort you put into that work, how much you're applying yourself in your classes, and in some cases even the classes you take, that's all up to you. So of course you can coast in high school, you can take easy classes, you can do the bare minimum, but if you really want to succeed and get something out of high school academically and maybe get into a good college in the future, you're going to want to push yourself and go that extra mile with your work. Take those hard classes, take classes that you're interested in, and put in the effort that's needed. If you know that you want to pursue college after high school and then you want to go to a big school that maybe has a big name, it's more prestigious, a little bit more selective, don't completely slack off your freshman year. I know when you're going into high school, college just seems so far away. It's like another world, but it'll come sooner than you think. And when you're in your junior year applying for college, you're gonna regret not pushing yourself freshman year, because colleges do look at your freshman year grades, and a lot of it is just your cumulative GPA throughout your entire high school career. I did not push myself at all my freshman year. I didn't take any honors or AP courses, and although I did well, just my freshman year GPA compared to my senior year GPA was just so different, just because I wasn't pushing myself at all. I wasn't trying a lot, and I think that really hurt me in my college applications, just because compared to someone who's been taking honors and AP courses all 4 years, in comparison to my application, I didn't look that great. So just make sure that that's in the back of your mind during your freshman year. My next tip is to not expect things to just work out for you. Whether this be grades or friends, you can't just expect things to work out. You're gonna need to put effort into it. Socially, this means putting yourself out there and starting conversations with people and actually getting to know your classmates, and not just waiting for friends to come to you and friends to approach you. You really need to put yourself out there in this way and just challenge yourself a little bit socially. For academics, of course, there are cases where maybe you don't have to study at all, but if you're not studying, don't expect to get an A just because you could get by doing that in middle school. You can't expect to do well if you don't put in the effort to do well. And sometimes this may work out for you, but it's not something you want to start expecting to happen. This one has always been a struggle for me, but actually get to know the people in your classes and make friends outside of your specific social circle. Even if you are going into high school with a group of friends and maybe you already have a friend in a couple of your classes, don't let that stop you from talking to other people around you and making more friends, more connections. I know some of the classes that I really enjoyed the most was when everyone in the class was friends, we were all talking to each other. Even if we were just convenience friends, friends in that class, class is always just so much more fun when you're actually interacting with your classmates. And going back to my other tip on expecting things, don't expect your classmates to approach you and make friends with you. Sometimes you need to put yourself out there, start a conversation, be the social one, even if it is really hard. I know I struggle with that sometimes, but trust me, you won't regret talking to someone new. Even if it doesn't go anywhere and you didn't make a new friend, at least you talked to someone new. That's always fun. Another friend-related tip, don't expect to have the same friends all 4 years. Of course, every once in a while, this does happen. You might have the same best friend all 4 years, but it's not something I would expect to happen. A lot changes in the 4 years that you're in high school, and it's totally natural to just grow apart, meet new people, connect with different people. I don't think I ever had like a big falling out with any of my friends in high school, but I definitely changed friend groups and just like changed like who I'm closest with in my class, and that's not a bad thing to happen. If anything, having the same friends for all 4 years, although not necessarily a bad thing, it definitely could keep you more isolated and keep you from making more friends outside of your social circle. And that brings me to tip number 6. If you're struggling making friends outside of your social circle, join some extracurricular activities. Now, personally, this is something I did not do. I did not take my own advice on this. Didn't do a lot of extracurricular activities, but the few that I did in my high school career, I met some great people that honestly I never would have talked to if I didn't do that. And not only are extracurriculars a great way to meet new people, but they also look really good on college apps if you're thinking about that your freshman year. So if you don't get a new friend out of it, at least your college app will look great. Now, you probably won't encounter this too much your freshman year, but as you get older in high school, you're gonna have some more choices on what classes you need to take. For example, I think like the requirement to graduate high school is like 3 years of foreign language, like 3 years of math, 2 or 3 years of science, and then like 4 years of English or something like that. But keep in mind, this is the bare minimum, and if you're applying to college, you don't want to do the bare minimum. Personally, I really hate math, but I took 4 years of math and ended up applying for a business major, so obviously that was helpful for me. But also, I took 4 years of a science, which I also don't really enjoy. But if I had only taken 3, it would not have looked great. And going off of that, on the opposite spectrum, don't take AP classes just for the credit if you don't think you're gonna do well or enjoy it. Sometimes barely getting by an AP class that is just sucking the life out of you is not worth it. I mean, maybe you'll get a B minus, but you worked way too hard for it. That does happen. And you could have gotten an A plus in a regular or even an honors class, not the AP version, and that's okay. Not everything is about grades, and if a class is causing you that much trouble, you don't need to stick with it, honestly. You don't need to risk your mental health for an AP credit. It's not worth it. Okay, so this one's a little bit random, but always make sure you have snacks or just money to buy food. I don't think this really needs more explaining, but trust me, you won't regret having an extra granola bar or 2 in your bag. The worst thing is sitting through class or just even taking a test or a quiz when you are ungodly hungry and it's affecting like your mental state, so just make sure you're always prepared on that front. Also, another random tip, don't block the hallways. Don't be that person that stops to talk with their friend group in the middle of a hallway, a doorway, a stairwell. People will hate you for it. It's not cool. Tip number 12, and this specifically goes out to all the incoming freshmen. Don't overdo it on the school supplies, and definitely don't bring all your school supplies on the first day of school. Now, you might want to get a small notebook for all your classes, like pens, pencils, pencil case, stuff like that. But you don't need a binder for every class. You don't need that mini stapler. You don't need all those folders, all those colorful pens. Honestly, it's just gonna weigh your backpack down and you're gonna end up wasting your money because chances are you're not gonna need all that stuff. Just wait for the first day of school, get the vibe of your classes, as I know a lot of classes now will do a lot of things on your computers. You might not even need a notebook for that. And just regardless of all of that, you don't wanna have like a 20-pound backpack. I've done that before in middle school, the 20-pound backpack. It's really not necessary. Tip number 13, it's okay to get to know your teachers. You may think that it'll make you seem uncool if you befriend a teacher, talk to them every once in a while, but this can help you so much. First of all, regardless of what any teacher says, grading is pretty subjective. If a teacher likes you, you'll do better. It happens. They'll also be a little bit more inclined to just like help you out more in their class, give you some tips, extra credit, stuff like that. And surprise, surprise, some teachers are actually really cool. And I've had some really awesome teachers that I'm so lucky to have like gotten to know during my high school career, I guess. So just don't be afraid to like have a genuine conversation with your teacher, get to know them a little bit. Maybe it'll help you out, maybe it won't, but once again, you're making friends. Tip number 14, when you get into high school, you're gonna notice that there's this really weird hierarchy between seniors versus juniors versus sophomores versus freshmen, and you really need to respect it. I know it's so strange. Why do you need to respect the seniors like they're gods? But trust me, you'll get it when you're an upperclassman. So just go with the flow, let it happen, don't question it. It's all gonna be good. And last but not least, tip number 15, it is not as scary as you think it is. I know there's a lot of like misconceptions about what high school is, and you may be scared going into it just because of like what you've seen in TV and movies, what you've heard from people maybe, but everyone's high school experience is different, and it doesn't need to be this super scary place that is the worst 4 years of your life. Because personally for me, I really liked high school. It was not the worst 4 years of my life. I actually thought middle school was so much worse than high school. So if you're scared going into it, just remember, I actually liked high school, so maybe you'll like it too. And go into it with an open mind. Okay guys, so that's gonna be it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Comment down below what graduating year you are. I just graduated, so I was class of 2019. That is no longer, but yeah, I'd love to know how old you guys are, what grade you guys are going into. Comment down below. Also, if you are not already following me on Instagram and Twitter and all that, they are both at @Ella_Elbells, so you can go ahead and follow me both of those, and I will see you guys soon. Bye!